Hello, welcome to Tarot and Oracle for the Soul. My name is Sara and I will be doing an overview of my month of March. I wanted to separate the deck of the month and the deck of the year from my month of March. My overview, I felt like it would be too long. March was a bittersweet month. There were 4 birthdays and 1 funeral. So our family friend, Papan, she unfortunately passed away 10 days before her birthday, and she had a beautiful Buddhist funeral on her birthday. It would have been her 77th birthday. This video is in memory of Papan. She was a family friend to my parents before I was born, and then to me, she was like a second mom. In 2017, her town elected her Citizen of the Year, which I think is really awesome. She was great, even though she was Buddhist, and she would travel to Boston to go to a Buddhist sanctuary, her and her husband, to meditate. She was very active with the local church in her town. And there's a part of me that feels like maybe I should take note of that and be active in one of the 139 Christian churches here. Last month, my husband and I tried for the second time, this time at a local New Age bookshop, to hold a pagan meetup. Again, no one came. My husband and I made gluten-free sugar cookies. They came out delicious. We had a really nice talk with the owner. She's amazing. I love the owner. One of my favorite people in town, and so it was nice to get to talk to her more. We've talked to her and we're friends with her and her partner, as in like we go in and we will just hang out and talk to them. So their shops will forever be a safe place for me. I am sad that people here are too afraid. The 139 or 38 or whatever it is churches is such a huge presence that people are afraid to come out of the broom closet, and I guess I understand. Back to the 4 birthdays. So it was my mom's birthday, it was my dear friend Cindy's birthday. She had an art show called It Breathes Me, Art by Cindy Rhodes, at the Ocotillo Performing Arts Center in Artesia. You can see some of her artwork. If you go to cindyrhodes.com, you can purchase some of these. She had a beautiful write-up next to each painting, and it tells the story of her time here in Roswell, as well as other places that she's lived. The art show was gorgeous. Her art is beautiful. I love her colors, and her storytelling is impeccable. She is an author as well. She has a few books on sale through Amazon that you can purchase. Highly recommend. Her art and her books are wonderful. So it was her birthday, so she had the art show opening the day before her birthday, which is awesome. What an amazing birthday gift for her. And we talked to a few people there, and then we went out to dinner at the Wellhead, and I think I had some shrimp. It was okay. Nikolai, what did you have?
Oh, fish and chips.
And my husband had some fish and chips. How was it? Was it okay? It was okay. Nothing, amazing, but it was just nice to be in Artesia. It's such a cute little town. We ate dinner at the Wellhead restaurant here in Artesia. This is downtown. We went to our friend's art show at the, what is it called? What's that place called?
Ocotillo.
Oh, the Performing Arts Center.
Yeah.
And had dinner at the Wellhead restaurant. I, of course, went to Kith and Kin, my favorite coffee shop in southeastern New Mexico. They have the best coffee, and I bought some chocolate covered espresso beans and some delicious lavender coffee, and it was just a nice night out. We also went to Black Hawk for Irish nachos twice. And on Tuesdays they have really great, it's like 2 for Tuesdays, or some special on Tuesdays. You can get $2 mimosas, $2 gin and tonic, which is awesome. So I had 2 strawberry mimosas. I think it was strawberry. They were really good. And then we went back another time to listen to this folk singer. He writes some pretty good original songs and does some fun covers in kind of like a folky way. And I think he's from the Netherlands. Oh, he's from Sweden. And his name is Captain Klaus. I'll include a clip right here.
It's too late to die young. It's too late, it's too late, it's too late, it's too late. It's too late, it's too late. It's too late. It's too late.
That's always a good time, getting some yummy cider. I think so far my favorite cider is the raspberry, but their seltzer that they sell, their hard seltzer called Cocaine, is my favorite. We also went to Lubbock, Texas for some German food. It was called Texas 1809. And I had the best adult drink that I've had in about 20 years. I haven't had really good adult beverage. Well, I take that back. It's probably been 15 years since I left New England. Like DC, I always got good like martinis. And then in Hanover, New Hampshire, there was a couple of places that sold really good drinks. But out of Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, hands down, best drinks. They did not skimp on the alcohol. It was delicious. And the food was really good. It was a late kind of birthday celebration for my husband. We had wanted to go, but his birthday's in December, and I think the weather wasn't that good and it was really cold. So we decided to wait until March. And so we went to celebrate his birthday. We finally finished. This is gonna surprise some people, especially if you've been watching this channel for a while and watch across all 4 channels. We finally finished the original 7 seasons of Gilmore Girls. Whew, that was a chore. The Gilmore Girls, especially Lorelai and Rory, really got under my skin. I just found them like so frustrating, so annoying, just really unrealistic. But anyway, we made it through. And surprisingly enough, I also read The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop. And at first I didn't really love it because it took till chapter 10 to get into her time on the Gilmore Girls. And she doesn't spill much tea. She is very classy. She's a very classy person. And when she's talking about the beginning of her career, when she was having affairs with like married men and things, she didn't give names. She would change names. She didn't want to embarrass anybody. She didn't want to, cause any problems. So she did things in a very classy way. I also really appreciated her openness about how she had never wanted to be a mom and how she had a whoopsie and she accidentally got pregnant and she knew she didn't want to be with a guy and she had already been through a divorce, and she was very candid about her abortion and how it wouldn't have mattered like if abortion was legal or not. She would have had an abortion regardless. And I just really appreciated her candor about that, because not all women want to be mothers. It's not every woman's calling. And I found it very refreshing, especially, her coming from the generation that she came up with, that, you know, we don't talk about those things, and you don't talk about how you are happily child free. And I just found it super refreshing, and I wish more people could feel open, but I know it's slowly changing, and I really appreciate that. So I found her really positive, really uplifting. Her story was engaging, and even though she didn't like tell, like, it wasn't a tell-all, it was still engaging, and she was such a positive person. And she has a philosophy that she lives by, and I'm going to read it to you, that is now my mantra for life. She says, "Don't cry because you think your best days are gone. Smile because you had them in the first place." And I think that's really beautiful. And especially as you start to get older, you know, you start to have like regrets, or you look back and you miss certain things, and you wish that things could be the same, but you know, nothing stays the same. Everything is always changing, and unfortunately we can't go back. So reflect on those memories, be happy you had them, but continue to look forward to the future and make new memories, and don't get stuck in the past. So I ended up really enjoying her book. At first, like I said, I was gonna DNF it. I wasn't feeling it, but it ended up, I really appreciated Kelly Bishop's story. I read Fed Up by Gemma Hartley, and I think I actually talked about that book in my February, because technically I didn't finish it until like March 1st or 2nd, but the bulk of the book I had read in February, so I think I talked about that, and that book was excellent. That was 4.5 stars. We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer. Again, that's another book that I almost DNF'd, and when I finished it, I was like, okay, that was 3 stars. That was just like such a trip of a book. The Third Gilmore Girls, I don't think I gave it a rating, but I enjoyed it. I would say a 4-star. I also read Catching the Big Fish by David Lynch. I wanted to love this book. It was a little bit about transcendental meditation, a little bit about his movies. He's one of those artists, or was, sorry, because he's the late great David Lynch, that he's an artist and he wants his movies to speak for themselves. So he doesn't want to talk about his movies. He doesn't really want to talk about the process. He was started out as an artist, and he's always been doing transcendental meditation, and I didn't realize he had a foundation, and he was really a big proponent of students learning meditation. But his sentences were really short and choppy, and everything felt kind of like clipped, incomplete, and it was weird. He read the book, and I listened to it through Libby on their service, and everything was just like clipped very short, and the way he speaks, I didn't love it. It was short, and that's the only reason I got through the book. I also read The Seventh Veil of Salome by Sylvia Moreno Garcia, which I really wanted to love that book because I loved the first book I read from her, Mexican Gothic. That book was amazing. This book was a little slow. I thought it would be great because it took place in 1950s Hollywood, and it talked about the racism that stars, Hollywood actresses and actors faced if they were Mexican American or African American, or just not white American. And so I touched on that. It touched on the censorship rules and the communists, like the panic about communists, and how a lot of writers and Hollywood types had to move to Mexico. And then it talked about like the housing in Los Angeles, how a lot of Mexican Americans had to lie and say they were Spanish in order to be able to move into certain neighborhoods. So that was interesting. But the story, I didn't like how it would list somebody's name, like an agent or just some random person, and then it told the story, and then it was like the biblical story, and then it was about the actress playing the biblical story, the Salome. It was just really disjointed, and I don't like books like that. I don't like, you know, especially if a character's introduced and then we never hear from them again. It didn't work for me, so that was a 3 stars. Like I said, almost DNF'd that book as well. March was kind of more of a 3-star than anything else. It started out strong with Fed Up, and then it just kind of went, like I said, the third Gilmore Girl was another highlight. And then I read my friend Helen M. Walters, who I did an interview with her in February on Sara's Prismatic Musings. She wrote a book, Dead Friends in New Mexico, Missing Them. As a thank you to me for featuring her on my channel, she gave me a signed copy of her book. To Sara, thanks for all your supportive friendships. Right on, Helen Walters. So that was very kind of her. She didn't need to. I didn't expect, you know, anything for interviewing her. And I read this and just feeling nostalgic for Papon, and I'm really gonna miss Papon's food. She made the best food. I love. When we went home like 2-3 years ago, she cooked a feast for us, and it was just delicious, and I'm gonna miss her food. And yeah, I'm gonna start crying. So I read this book, and this is about all her friends who've passed away in New Mexico, and I'm probably gonna start crying because after reading this, it did make me pretty emotional. Pagan Girl, this is on page 32. When we first met her at her shop, Earthway Herbs, it was called, there was a ton of knowledge behind that door and walls. She made quite an impression on my husband and I. She had shelves of jars, herbs handpicked and dried. We moved away and out of state with some of her products. They were top rate. We thought of her often but fell out of touch, and lives took priority, and we didn't think of her much. But we came back here to live and then looked her up. She made medicine bags now, like a small leather cup. We had a few visits, good times as old friends. The visits were short, for her life would soon end. Lung cancer would take her from this world, a down-home Southern pagan girl. And it was just so sad, like reading the number of friends that Helen has lost, and most of them, it's been due to cancer. And I don't think of them as old, and I don't think a lot of them were old. I mean, maybe some of the people in the book were, but to me, Helen's not old. She's like 67, and to me, 67 is young. So the fact that she's had so many people pass away in her life in only 67 years just makes me sad. I mean, I come from a family where people live well into their mid-90s to 100, so 67 is really young. I'm gonna go back to something a little bit more fun. We actually finally got to finish watching season 1 of Dan to Dan. We had started watching it on Netflix, and then we didn't have Netflix anymore, and we're like, we won't get to finish it. And it showed up on Disney Plus, and I was so excited that we got to watch that. We finished season 2 of Angel, season 5 of Buffy, and season 3 of Star versus the Forces of Evil. Gotta have some anime in there. And it's fun rewatching Buffy and watching Angel. I didn't watch Angel when it came out, and so watching it kind of together, how it would be, has been fun. For movies, the only one I'm gonna really mention, because we watched 5 movies, but 4 of them were just okay. But the one that stood out to me with the most it was called India Sweets and Spices. We watched it on Hulu, and it's about a rich Indian family, their community on feminism. So it starts out with a girl having a party. The college year has ended, and they're drunk, and her and her friends decide to cut their hair short. She goes home, her mom's like, oh, why'd you cut your hair? She has to go get it fixed. And events unfold. And I thought it was really well done. And it was a great look at feminism in India and then how that plays out for Indian women living in the United States. It was a good story, and if you can watch it, I definitely recommend it. I uploaded 9 videos, long form videos on this channel, and I think only 3 shorts. I don't really do much with shorts, but since I'm now going to be collaborating with my friend Stephanie going forward, she's going to be talking about astrology. I'll be doing like a card pull. We're going to try to do that once a month. She's trying to get a YouTube channel started herself, and she's not feeling very comfortable in front of the camera alone, so I'm kind of acting as support for her. She really doesn't need me. She's great. She's wonderful. She knows what she's talking about. She knows her astrology. She knows business. You know, she has started her own company. She knows her stuff, but I understand, so I will continue to support her until she feels she can create videos and upload them to her channel herself. I did one interview for Sara's Prismatic Musings, and I'll link that above. It was with Michael, who runs a cat sanctuary here in Roswell and who is also an artist, so I'll link that above. Now onto YouTube channels that I've really been enjoying, and you'll notice there's a theme. There's a lot of Sarah's, and that's just coincidence. Sara with Cedar Moon Witch, Mand at Mystic Mand, Sara, that Divination Witch. I am really loving her content. Celina at Essence of the Moon, and Lashette at Scarlet Moon Creations. So I will link them down below. Check out their videos, and you know, more. So those are the people I've been enjoying. My husband bought me this awesome sticker book. It has such fun. He picked it up for me at Alien Enchantments when no one showed up for our pagan meetup. And he's doing so great. He's made focaccia bread for us. He started making it last month in March. And I have to say he's excellent. Like, he can keep making focaccia for us. Gluten-free focaccia bread we get the flour from King Arthur's flour. He also bought me the Unfolding Path Tarot, which I did a flip through. Or did I just do a talk? I don't know. But he bought me this. I was bad and I had a discount code. I bought myself the Gil Tarot. And then Teresa has been so lovely. She made my week, my month, my year. She sent me some happy mail, and she sent me 6 decks, you guys. Like, I wasn't expecting it. It wasn't something, you know, I do this for fun, but I did a live unboxing, and I kind of did like a little mini walkthrough of the Dante's Inferno, but I will do one later. I just have to censor out. I try to censor out. There is a video that I've just put up that I compared the Thoth against Tarot of the Spirit and the Gil, and it would just be too complicated to try to censor the nudity, so I just set it at 18+. I don't want the YouTube censors coming after me. Oh yes, and she sent me this deck as well. So Teresa, thank you so much again. Like, my heart is so full, and I just really appreciate the happy mail. It was so fun to get and open up, and these decks are decks that I have never seen before. A lot of them, like, never heard of. So I think she should definitely start a channel. And it would be fun to see her collection. And we've been kind of like email pals. And it's really fun, and just really thoughtful. So thank you, Teresa. Like, my heart is full. You made my month. And I know that this is a little late, but like I said, I wanted to keep the deck of the month and the deck of the year separate because it'd be way too long. The weather in Roswell, March, was like super windy. We had like really high winds, but towards the end of the month it started to get really nice. And I know our friends Cindy and Sam had started going to the lake we had wanted to, but then when we had time it got cold again, so we didn't make it. But hopefully for this month, for the month of April, we'll be able to go. Look at all that dust. It is gross out here. It's like day after day of dust. I don't want to record too long because I have to open the door to get the image, but ugh. So thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, please, please, please hit that subscribe button and the like button. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Have fun and keep on shuffling.